Hey, did you even check our company's hiring criteria? Can't you read because you're just a high school grad? It says we require a college degree. Why did you even come here? Are you mocking us?
But
I don't know how you sneaked in, but we don't hire high school grads. Nowadays, having just a high school diploma usually means there's gotta be a catch, right?
but still,
It's common sense, right? Our company is a rising star, growing rapidly. There's no way we'd hire someone with just a high school education. Know your place.
how could this be? And after Bob recommended me for this job. My name is Sam Wilson, I'm 30 years old. Currently, I live with my younger sister, Mimi, who is significantly younger than me. Our parents divorced when I was in 8th grade, and Mimi was just 2 years old. My dad was the worst. He was addicted to gambling, squandered all our money, and even hit my mom when he needed more. My mom decided to divorce him before his violence could turn towards us kids. Since being taken in by my mom, the three of us lived a modest but happy life. My mom worked day and night to raise the two of us. But in my senior year of high school, she was diagnosed with cancer. She endured without telling us, hoping not to worry us, and by the time it was discovered, it was too late for treatment to do much. They said she had maybe 6 months left.
I'm sorry, Sam. If I hadn't gotten sick, you were doing so well in school. You could have aimed for a top university.
It's okay, Mom. Once I graduate high school, I'll support our family. Mom had saved a little for my college, but we had to use it for our hospital bills. She always apologized to me for that. But I wanted her to live as long as possible. Mimi still needed her mother. Mom, I got a job. It's not at a big company, but it's full-time and the pay is decent, so you can relax a bit, and we can even send Mimi to college.
Sam, you're truly a son to be proud of. Just don't overdo it, okay?
Don't worry. I've got plenty of energy. Oh, when I get my first paycheck, let's go out and eat something delicious, just the three of us. A few weeks after I shared the news of my job, Mom passed away quietly. After graduating high school, I clung to my busy colleagues at work to learn the job and worked desperately. When work was done, I'd rush home to cook dinner for Mimi. My boss understood my situation and adjusted my overtime, so I worked my tail off in gratitude. Mimi was still in elementary school, but she always worried about me. Years went by, and Mimi became capable of handling household chores, eventually taking over the cooking duties to help out during my busy schedule. Thanks to her, my load lessened considerably, and life became a bit easier. Considering my health, she prepared nutritious meals, and eating Mimi's cooking after a tiring day at work became one of my joys. She grew up to be such a good kid. She's hard-working in her studies too. I was so proud when she won an essay contest. It felt like my own achievement. She has a cheerful personality and is well liked by everyone, apparently having many friends. I worked hard to support Mimi's life and ensure she could go to college. It wasn't easy, but our life was going smoothly. However, after I got transferred and involved in a major project, I started coming home late, often after the date changed, due to the workload. The workload was so immense that I had to work even on my days off to keep up. One day, the manager called me.
Sam, isn't that thing done yet?
What are you referring to?
Don't play dumb. The deadline is today.
But I wasn't assigned any such task. I'm sorry, but I really don't recall such a task.
Seriously, this is why low-tier college grads. Oh, wait, you're just a high school grad. Can't even remember important tasks. Utterly useless. Here, this is the job. Make sure you meet the deadline.
I truly had no recollection of that task. The manager watched me with a smirk.
This is an important client's project. You know what will happen if you don't meet the deadline, right?
He must have been hiding this work deliberately to embarrass me. I was facing terrible harassment from the manager at my new department. In this section, everyone else had higher education, and I was the only one with just a high school diploma. The manager took out his work and domestic stress on me, the most vulnerable. Moreover, he kept dumping his own work on me. He treated me like a lackey.
We don't need a high school grad burden here. This department is for the elite only. Why is someone like you even here? With your education, you need to work 5 times harder to be considered adequate.
The verbal abuse continued daily, but I couldn't quit because I needed to support Mimi. I didn't want her to suffer because of money issues. My mother would have wanted Mimi to go to college. I wanted to ensure Mimi had as many options as possible when she decided to go to college. I had no choice but to endure the manager's verbal abuse and work hard. Despite the harassment, I worked there for about 2 years. Then one day, I was called to the president's office. I had worked at the company for a long time, but hardly ever spoke directly with the president. I had no idea what it was about.
Sam, you have embezzled company funds, haven't you?
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
No use denying it. We found a transfer from your computer to an overseas account.
It was completely unexpected. Even when the president, Nick, showed me the evidence on the screen, I had no clue about it. The manager, also present, said,
Sam always does his work halfway and makes many mistakes. But as a supervisor, I've been looking out for him, and now this.
When did he ever look out for me? I couldn't talk back in front of the president, but I was astonished by the blatant lie. The manager smirked at me, unnoticed by the president. I was framed. By the time I realized it, it was too late.
We don't want to make a big deal out of this. You understand, right?
Wait, please, Nick. I really didn't do anything.
But your performance reviews are always the worst, and other employees in your department have testified that they saw you doing suspicious activities.
My colleagues, under the manager's influence, did not support me. Instead, they joined the manager in ganging up against me. No matter how much I protested my innocence, no one believed me. Eventually, I couldn't prove my innocence and was fired. But I kept the fact that I was fired from my sister. If she knew, she would worry and probably say she'd work after graduating high school. I didn't want her to give up her future like that. So, I started job hunting in secret. However, finding a new job was tough. Even when interviews seemed promising, I was somehow rejected. Money was running out. On a day filled with despair, I received a call from an old friend. Hey, Bob, it's been a while. What's up all of a sudden?
I was just wondering how you're doing, Sam. Want to go out for a drink?
Bob was a classmate from middle and high school. A really smart guy, always at the top of his class. We lived close to each other and became good friends, often studying together at each other's homes. Bob was fond of Mimi too, and even helped her with her studies. But after we graduated high school, we took different paths and lost touch. I was happy to receive a call from him after such a long time, so I decided to go out for drinks with Bob. I wanted to forget my current struggles for a bit. We toasted with draft beers at a local inexpensive bar. It was the first time we drank together since we hadn't met since high school graduation. I thought Bob could hold his liquor, but he turned red after just one drink. At first, we reminisced about old times, but eventually, we started talking about our current lives.
How's Mimi? Is she taking college exams this year?
She's good. She's working hard to get into a university in another state, her top choice.
Indeed, that brings back memories. I remember tutoring her. She was just in elementary school, but now she's in high school.
Yeah, time flies. By the way, how's work for you, Bob? I heard you graduated and landed a job at a big corporation.
I changed jobs a little while ago, and my new job is just starting to pick up.
Sounds like things are going well for you. As for me, with the alcohol taking effect, I honestly told Bob about being fired and my struggles to find a new job, despite my efforts. Bob listened, nodding occasionally.
That sounds rough.
Mimi's got exams coming up, and with things like this, I wonder if we'll even make ends meet. Seeing me down, Bob seemed to have an idea and clapped his hands.
Actually, I know a company that's hiring mid-career. If you want, I can introduce you.
What?
The terms should be decent. I think they were chosen as one of the top 100 growing startups this year. They're looking to expand their team.
Really?
Yeah. If you're interested, I'll talk to them about you.
Thank you, Bob. I'll count on you. I asked Bob for a favor, hoping for this new opportunity.
I know you're capable, Sam. I'll let them know that too.
Later, Bob sent me the company's information to review before my interview. I read it thoroughly from cover to cover before heading into the interview. This company is impressive. It's been growing rapidly in the past few years. Seems like a great atmosphere. Apparently, they're planning to expand internationally. Although I had to give up on going to college and studying international culture, I've always been fascinated by foreign countries. I had always dreamed of going overseas. I still collect information about them from time to time. I let myself dream a bit about succeeding at this company. But first, I need to get hired. I have to do my best. I gathered my focus and headed to the interview. I rode the elevator in a brand new office building to the office floor. There was a phone in the elevator lobby that connected to the office. After informing the staff on the phone that I was there for an interview, I was quickly directed to a space near the office entrance. The person who came to conduct the interview was as young as me, energetic, and looked competent.
Mr. Sam Wilson, right? Please come this way.
Following the interviewer's lead, I was taken to a conference room.
Well then, let's get started with the interview. I'll be conducting today's interview. I'm Paul. Thank you for coming today.
I'm Sam Wilson. Thank you for having me.
Please take a seat over there.
It's been years since I last had an interview. Being rejected on paper all this time, I felt nervous now that it was actually happening.
Feel free to be relaxed.
Yes, thank you.
This company was only established a few years ago, and the employees all have a young and casual vibe, so you don't need to be too nervous.
The interviewer seemed kind. Feeling slightly relieved, I handed my resume to the interviewer. The interviewer was reading the resume. Gradually, his expression changed.
Graduated from high school, and then worked at a company for 12 years. What? A high school grad?
He threw my resume on the desk with a heavy sigh. I was surprised by the sudden change in the interviewer's attitude. just when I thought I had finally found a place to work after struggling to even get interviews. If this opportunity failed, I had nothing left. It would also cause trouble for Mimi.
Wait, I've seen this name before. Weren't you the guy who embezzled money and got fired from your previous company? So you're targeting us next, huh?
How do you know about that? The president of my former company had promised to settle things quietly if I resigned, without involving the police. Yet, how had this unfounded accusation of embezzlement spread?
It's true then. Your former company is our client.
So, they talked about me. But I hadn't committed any embezzlement. I tried to explain, but the interviewer cut me off.
Look, normally you'd be considered a criminal with a record. Understand? So you should fit right in at some low-level, exploitative company. Maybe I should refer you to a toxic workplace with over 200 hours of overtime. Huh. Oh, but then again, they probably wouldn't want a low IQ criminal high school grad like you. Huh. Someone like you is better off working day and night at a car wash.
The interviewer made a dismissive gesture as if shooing me away, and he carelessly crumpled up my resume and threw it into a nearby trash can. Sorry, thank you for your time. Enduring the barrage of insults, I managed to say just that before standing up to leave. As I was about to leave the room with my bag, the door of the conference room opened, and a woman dressed in a suit entered. She was quite beautiful. She seemed to be the president's secretary.
Oh, are you leaving already?
She seemed surprised to see me leaving. Before I could explain, the interviewer interjected.
This guy. He's just a high school grad. Not worth our time.
The secretary walked up to the interviewer, her demeanor firm, and said,
What are you talking about? The president personally expressed interest in hiring him.
The interviewer began to panic.
What? Does the president? Must be a mistake. This guy.
There's no mistake. If the president finds out there was any disrespect towards the person he specifically asked to come, it's going to be trouble.
The interviewer's face went pale. The secretary apologized to me just as there was a knock on the door.
May I come in?
Sure, please come in.
Apparently, it was the president of this company. I was shocked to see who entered. Bob.
Hey, Sam. Is the interview over already?
No, Paul suddenly said he wouldn't hire me.
The secretary and Bob conversed. I was stunned, unable to grasp the situation, staring at Bob in disbelief. The interviewer seemed just as confused, murmuring in dismay, clearly flustered by the unexpected turn of events.
Why is the president with him?
So, is it true that you decided not to hire Sam?
Bob, you know, he's a high school grad, right? You said before that you wouldn't hire high school grads. Plus, this guy was involved in that embezzlement case.
Indeed, Sam is a high school graduate, but he couldn't go to college because of his circumstances. He was more talented than me in high school, someone I considered a rival and envied for his academic abilities. It would be a waste not to hire someone like him. Our company is trying to expand, and having more talented people is better. Moreover, losing him to another company would be a loss for us.
I was touched to realize that Bob thought so highly of me. I felt happy.
I've heard about the embezzlement case, but Sam isn't someone who would do such a thing. We frequently do business with his former company, and I'm on good terms with that president. I collaborated with him to meet and talk with recent leavers from that company. They all mentioned having an unreasonable manager who would blame them for his mistakes and harass them. So, suspecting something, I had it investigated with the help of our secretary.
The secretary gave a quick wink. I wondered how all this had been arranged without my knowledge. I never could have imagined such a turn of events.
Turns out, that manager was hooked on cabarets, got banned from various establishments for causing trouble, and ended up on a blacklist. Overwhelmed with stress, he embezzled company funds for his pleasure, spending it on sugar dating, despite having a wife and kids. After reporting to the president and confronting the manager, he confessed everything. He was fired and apparently got divorced too. What he's doing now, I have no idea.
This proved my innocence. It felt like a ray of light had pierced through the dark clouds in my life.
Well, if you says so.
The interviewer, flustered, heard Bob speak.
And Paul, I've been paying attention. What was that interview behavior? I've been concerned about your speech and how you treat people, based on complaints from other employees. That's why I asked you to conduct this interview, and now it's clear.
Bob retrieved a voice recorder stuck to the interviewer's table. When the recording was rewound and played back, the conversation from the interview earlier began to play out. The interviewer's face turned pale rapidly.
Paul, see me in my office later.
Yes.
The interviewer was severely reprimanded by the president later and transferred to a less interactive department. The interviewer was relegated to a department that dealt solely with routine clerical works, a move likely reflecting Bob's leniency, as he wasn't fired outright. I joined Bob's company, worked diligently. I assisted in expanding the company's business, and through interactions with our newly established overseas branches, I contributed to the company's profits and was even recognized internally. Subsequently, I was promoted to the board of directors, working alongside Bob day and night. Thanks to this, I was able to send my sister Mimi to her desired college.
I'm happy to work with you like this.
Me too. It's all thanks to you inviting me back then. I could send Mimi to college. Later, Bob visited our home for the first time in a while. Although it had been a long time since Bob and Mimi met, they started talking and got along well the moment they saw each other.
Wait, didn't I tell you, Sam? We've been dating.
What? Since when? Why didn't you tell me? That's sneaky. Mimi was able to advance to college, and I was thinking about her possibly getting a boyfriend soon. Despite my quiet contemplations, the situation took a completely unexpected turn. However, knowing that someone as capable and kind as Bob was Mimi's boyfriend, I felt truly relieved from the bottom of my heart.